Bottom left-hand side of Pillars of Gold, we got a TvZ on our hands, and we start with the blue Zerg player DRG. He's taking on the red Terran up in the top right-hand side, ByuN, as we kick off into the first map of this best-of-3 series. Kick this off to see what's going to be happening. So, this is a matchup, again, casting this one for YouTube while also still live on Twitch, and I just explained this to Twitch chat, so excuse me for a moment while I explain to anyone just watching the YouTube video, but this is a series from the Into the ITAX Pro Circuit number 5. Played kind of towards the start of February, so it's a little bit of an older replay, but I've been waiting to get my hands on these replays for a while, and they've just recently come out, so there's some good matches in this set of groups and stuff, and other players such as DY, Rogue, Trap, and Innovation, Cure. Lots of people that we like to watch games of, so absolutely thought we'd just jump in on this and cast a few of these, even if they are just a little bit older, pre-Katowice replays. Just lets us kind of put out a little bit more content for you guys. So that's kind of the plan. So hi, if you are watching on YouTube, don't forget, if you enjoy it, hit the like button, consider subscribing. Helps us out a whole bunch. So a bit of TvZ action, and DRG splits a couple overlords in different directions to start us off. It's been a little while since I actually watched some DRG action. DRG games in TvZ generally go toward that Lingbane Muta, very aggressive kind of style. He likes to say he learns from Serral, so he has mixed in some Lingbane Hydra, some Lurkers lately, but to me, the best DRG TvZ is that Lingbane Muta style, and he was so good at it at the start of 2020 when he was taking down Innovation in the round of 8 of GSL, and, you know, DRG really kind of peaked there after his military return. Really excited to see what he can bring here against ByuN. The ByuN DRG series that we see oftentimes do lead into very fun matchups, and it is one that we see a fair amount. They play in a lot of these Alpha X, into the Alpha X events and so on, so they do play a reasonable amount against each other in tournaments. In fact, they also played in Katowice, and ByuN knocked DRG out of Katowice with a 2-1 victory. Those were some really good games, so if this series was anything like that, then hell yeah, get me on the hype train. I think it could be a lot of fun to see that. Actually, I was going to cast some of the Katowice replays as well. I just haven't gotten around to opening that replay pack yet. I actually have a bunch of replays to cover. Like I say, it's good though, because now we can extend the streams a little bit with some extra casting of replays, and we just have replays to cast, which is always good. So yeah, this one is not from the IEM. This one is from the Into the ITAX Pro Circuit. Sorry, I should update the bracket command. Let me just do that very quickly as this game sets up and the replay dances around. Let me just quickly fix that. Casting ByuN vs DRG from Into the ITAX Pro Circuit number 5. Brackets replays. I just added the stream title as well. Sorry, I completely forgot to do this before we began. Alright guys, sorry about that. Apologies, obviously you usually should do that before the series, but don't want anyone getting confused or anything. As you see, the couple of Hellions on the way out from ByuN. Tech Lab's about to finish on this barracks, and the starport is going to be finishing in just a moment or two as well. So again, that starport completed. This rack's going to lift off and go elsewhere. Starport is going to take its place on the Tech Lab. Looks like we might get a bit of a Hellion Banshee opener here this time around, which is always a good bit of fun. And this is really kind of old school Hellion Banshee. No third CC. It's not defensive Banshees at all. This is absolutely wanting to get out here and to get a little bit of damage done, really, more than anything else. So, yeah, kind of heading in towards this for the moment. There's a Reaper and a couple of Hellions. Will make their way out and around the left-hand side. Queens get there, putting the units back a little bit, so pushing those away. But yeah, doing pretty good at that, and again, just going to be seeing this single Zergling of DRG still making its way up to the top side of the map. Hellions are still making their way through the center here, so through the middle of the map they go. And obviously as the Banshees get together, they'll be looking to get some damage done as well. The Hellions for the moment going to go to the right. The Banshees look like they'll head towards the third / the main. Obviously, a good option here when you can go from the third to the main. Man, does DRG just not know about these Banshees? Oh no. He sees it now with his Overlord, so he just didn't know. He cancelled a spore that he built to save a drone. So he actually has no preparation for this. Now, if ByuN doesn't strike right away, maybe he'll be okay, but As Cloak finishes, there's going to be at least a chance to get rid of a few drones here without taking any Banshee damage. It's not the end of the world. He saw it soon enough that these spores came up, and he's only going to lose, what, 3 drones before the spores are ready? That's still 3 drones where the Banshee just got kind of free pickings to start. Now the Hellions are going to dive through, but the Lings are there. DRG will at the very least be able to hold this back a little bit. So good job in that regard. Covering that one well, doing a good job with that, and just going to be seeing these other Hellions now going to go back around to the right-hand side, so figuring out where exactly they want to be going to. Hellions back around into the center, a little bit of back and forth action, and Lings are going to start running in from the left-hand side. Now there is a couple of Banshees here. They're going to start picking their way through some of these creep tumors, so a bit of creep going down as well. As the Banshees cloak up, they're going to continue making some progress. I like getting rid of the creep, right? It really does just slow down some of the defense, especially when you want to push down the left side of the map and into this base a lot of the time as the Terran. Killing off creep in that direction is just going to make those attacks way more viable and way more potent for you a little bit further down the line. Third CC is coming up then in the wall-off, and we do see 2 more barracks from ByuN just building in the main. The Hellions once again from ByuN going to take a step way back out toward the center. With the melee upgrade still coming through, the Balin S about halfway done, and that Spire starting up in the natural expansion as well. The Hellions are going to make their way around to the left-hand side once again here. So around to the left. Let's back off just a little bit again. A couple drones going down. Spire still on the way up. That Bane speed going to be kicking in. The melee upgrades all coming through. So all of this continue to come up. Comes in, grabs a little kill right there, and just going to be seeing the little push of ByuN really developing now. As DRG is about to reach this Ling Bane Muta stage of the game, he's got Bane Lane speed. The upgrades are pretty even, right? And that's typical. The fact he can go Spire and have it upgrades at the same time as the Terran is just because of the fact that the Terran player went for the Banshees here, right? That slows down a lot of the other bio setup. And to be fair, I think the Banshees definitely did damage for themselves. They definitely paid for themselves and justified that expense and that delay on other bits and pieces. Ooh, nice surrounding from the other side. DRG gets the wraparound. He's going to get a good cleanup here. Pushes this back. Banes and Lings will finish off the final tag, and that's a good catch. As ByuN was trying to fight just before his 1-1 was, or before DRG's 1-1 was done, and DRG says, well, yeah, okay, let's do this. I bet you didn't expect me to jump on you quite as quickly as this, so... yeah, well handled in that regard. It's just going to be seeing the units back down through the middle of the map, kind of making their way in that direction at least. The Marines going to come through and definitely will have some creep tumors that they can scan forward and stim through to kill off here. So a few creep tumors going down. Lings and Banes start to make their way through as well. The tank in the background is going to be in some trouble also in the next few moments as Lings are still jumping in on this. That siege tank is going to fall. Oh my god, DRG getting some really good fights right now. ByuN in a bit of trouble with these engagements. And now the mutas are out as well, so ByuN's game only gets more difficult from here. Because now ByuN has to deal with the Mutalisks finding openings and killing off workers. You know, he has to defend those while also being active on the map to try and make up for some lost time with the previous attacks not going so well for him. I don't like this at all for ByuN. As I do see, DRG is going to bring it around the top side with these Mutalisks going to fly in towards this natural expansion. SCV's already starting to drop. So 5 SCVs go down. The Marines and the Hellbats push on through as well. All these creep team is already starting to go down. We do just have our tanks shooting, firing away. He's taking quite a lot of damage. The Bane's going to roll into this. I'm not sure ByuN has anywhere near enough to fight. I mean, the Hellbats are usually nice in these scenarios, but at the moment I feel like they're just going to be an extra additional kill for DRG without slowing DRG down at all. I guess that's not true. They slowed him down a little bit, but they really just sacrificed to keep ByuN alive, keep his army kind of somewhat competitive out over here. Now, ByuN is in a world of trouble at the moment. Is just going to see DRG is all over the place, right? And all that creep he was trying to lay a little bit earlier on in the game, DRG's just got it all back online. He's got creep in front of every base, so he's very safe from attacks in pretty much every single direction. DRG going to bring a bit of Ling Bane back around into the center now. The Mutalisks are going back through to the middle. And again, Marines, tanks, medevacs all setting up in the upper right-hand side. Now going to morph in a few extra Banelings here from DRG as well. They are just going to rally out towards that Ling Bane army. Just for a moment or two, that was the plan. The Mutalisks are going to come through to the top side. Ling Bane force all just collecting together. We do have the Marine tanks setting up. Defensively, I mean, this is kind of the game you got to play now, right? You know, as ByuN, a little bit more defensive, try and hold 4 bases and just hope you can trade well enough that you can rebuild and stay in the game, but man, sometimes the numbers are just going to be a bit too much, and that is absolutely the case here as Banes just crash into everything. This mineral line, well, there it goes. I was going to say, if it's not going to blow up right now, it'll blow up soon. The meters were going to be on top of it. Yeah, the Banes, there's a couple left, and they get 21 SCVs. So ByuN's already taking economic hits, and I don't think there's a world in which just sitting back defensively gets the job done. I don't think there's any world in which anything gets the job done, right? You know, sitting back defensively, I get it, right? You realize that the game is a little bit too far gone to be aggressive. So you're like, right, maybe if I just defend, he takes some bad fights, but DRG was just too far ahead to take a bad fight. Like, what bad fight was going to happen there? Maybe if Widow Mines killed, like, every Baneling before they connected. Even then, I'd be skeptical about the Ling Mutant not just being able to push through and clean up, right? And it's also just an unrealistic scenario. So, yeah, ByuN is really, I want to just say dead right now. Don't want to be a hype killer, but I don't see where you really go from here. DRG, in the meanwhile, is already going in towards the Ultralisk Cavern, so he's going to get that tier 3 tech on the map. And that's just going to be another set of units that's just going to help him to, you know, really kind of break the barricades of ByuN's defense, if there even is barricades at this stage, right? I mean, it's pretty barren over here, let's be realistic. Yeah, it's not a lot. ByuN supply block calls down supply to get unsupply block, gonna get supply blocked again in a moment, still hasn't started depots. ByuN is not playing a good game, a pretty game at all at the moment, to be honest. He's gonna fly in, his Ling Bane just gonna brute force its way through this position. That gives you access to the main base and the natural mineral line as well, of course, so in we go, and now you can start getting in and camping production. Well, not just yet, there's another wall off to break down. The mutants should be able to break that down if they want to. I thought that was the plan by going into this position here. You're just going to kind of cut off, you know, put yourself in a position to cut off all reinforcements and really make sure that, you know, ByuN can't produce anything else. But, yeah, I mean, it doesn't really matter. Any way of approaching this right now is good enough because you're just that far ahead as DRG, so it works out perfectly fine. And DRG is going to pick up game number 1 of this best of 3. So DRG going up by 1 in the series, and we get ready for game number 2. As needing some love right now in the bottom right-hand corner of the map is our Red Terran player that just did not really have a very good time in that game number 1. It is ByuN, and he's just off with the SCVs, so honestly, I will not lie, I did not feel like ByuN played well in that game. I felt like he made a lot of mistakes on his own accord, a lot of unforced errors. I didn't really feel much like ByuN, and maybe something's up with him when he's playing these games, because now he's just going to send out the proxy racks as SCVs, and that is actually not really something which you see. That's not really something that you see very often, right? From ByuN? Absolutely not. DRG top left, our blue Zerg player, as we get into game number 2 of this best of 3 series. We get this started up. Let's see how things are gonna go, as we do just have a couple of drones on the way out. Hatcher on the natural. Is DRG gonna completely miss this scout? I think he is, man. It's kind of a cool position to play, and you can still wall off a little bit, so you've got this choked area, which helps you fight against a drone pull against the SCVs. You can still have wall or surface area here that the SCV can be unhittable on, so you can RNG into finishing the barracks. And in this case, it's actually perfectly positioned to just make DRG miss completely. Plus, the speed zone means that the Marines will move through a little bit faster towards that base. A pretty big deal right now. As you see, these racks going to be completing. Hatch gas pool just setting up from DRG, getting that ready to go. It's tough. I mean, you just have no information about this. You see this now for the first time with this Overlord as a Marine and an SCV move forward. You're going to start bunkering right away. The drones pull immediately, so that's DRG's response to this. Super quick drone pull against a 3-rack, so I mean, there's going to be a good amount of Marines coming through to support this. You're going to cancel the first bunker. ByuN won't mind that. He gets the money back more or less, and if he keeps the SCVs alive, he can rebuild the bunker still within range of the hatchery if he goes soon. Like I say, with the 3-racks, you're going to get more Marines even faster than, you know, with the 2-racks here, so it's definitely a decent scenario just to be here and pushing forwards. Now, Lings are starting to come out. A lot of this still comes down to the micro, of course. DRG having to respond on the fly is the problem, right? There's no pre-setup against this. There's no setup spine crawl or money for that. He's going to get rid of one SCV. There's another SCV right here. I'm not sure. There should be a third SCV, right? But I'm not sure if it just went home instead. Looks like that bunker is not going to be allowed to finish. The problem is the Ling count isn't very good, so all the Lings have gone down. If these Marines can just camp Lings as they spawn, that's a problem. Now, the Queens might be the big defense here, being able to fight at range and pick away at those Marines. There's a third SCV coming forwards now. If you finish this bunker, that's problematic as well, because there's no way to break a bunker. The entire defense of DRG right now is hinging on the fact that this bunker will not finish, but ByuN has pushed the Queens up to the top side. SCV gets in, bunker is done, and that is now a dead hatchery. I don't know what you do to break this. Right, like how do you kill this bunker? 2 Queens, Lings, drones. I mean, Ling speed's going to be done, so it's got to be something with Ling speed, but you got to go right now, and Ling speed's not going to be done before that, so there's not really a good option here. I like this. ByuN just going to move and kill off a couple of extra drones. That's more lost mining time as they transfer as well, obviously. That speaks for itself. Yeah, DRG just missed this attack completely. He just did not see the barracks, and that's unfortunate, but sometimes it's just the way it is, and from there, ByuN definitely knew what he wanted to do. Like I said, DRG's defense really revolved around just making sure the bunker didn't go up, and if the bunker doesn't go up, I'm a firm believer that maybe he can actually make it work. It's just the fact the bunker went up as an extra SCV came up. He had the Marine count to bully himself into the correct position. GG. That is going to be ByuN picking up a game number 2. And just like that, we got our series tied up 1-1 across. Lightshade definitely not one you often see in a best of 3 ZVT, just for the fact Terrans will not like to play it. But we'll see what is planned. For the moment, DRG should feel fairly good about having this map for game 3. As in the top left, our blue Zerg player is DRG. Bottom right, our red Terran is going to be ByuN. Set up into the 3rd map of this series. He's proxy raxing it up again. So ByuN is apparently just not feeling good about the longer games. And again, I don't blame him based on what happened in game number 1. This is kind of a cool position again for the proxy rax, right? 1, 2, 3. It's a full wall off here on the high ground. It means that, like, if a drone shows up to try and deny, like, there's actually just no good way to drone pull to deny this if it gets scouted. So even if this was seen, I'm not sure you can... Obviously, the heads up, knowing ahead of time what's coming is nice, but there's not like you can do the, oh my god, I see what's happening, I'm gonna go and send my, you know, drones to try and stop the barracks from finishing. That just won't happen here, right? That's just not a situation that really arises. Overlord is going to get to see it with at least a little bit of information, so we'll see what DRG switches up from the last game to this one when trying to defend against this. I'm not sure if there's really like a good answer straight up. Coming in, Marine's going to start dealing some damage, so the drone's taking a few hits. Lings and a Queen coming through, and the Spine Crawler on the way as well right now from DRG. Just going to see again the SCVs and the Marines. Still poised to move up this left-hand side. Going to drop down a bunker. The Marines getting in towards that spine crawler, definitely putting a bit of pressure on at the moment. Drones from the right going to get caught. The drones in a bit of an odd spot, but they're trying to draw Marines out of the way so that the Lings can deny the bunker / the spine can finish. The Marines going to have to kite the other way now. They're actually going to get back towards the left. Well, DRG is going to have a corner that he has to fight in, which is not pretty. ByuN really getting value out of these Marines. Oh my god, the bunker finishes. No. The bunker finishes. That's bad. Can you keep the bunker alive? SCV going to repair it for a little bit. Queen will come through. Bunker will now go down. What was lost here? 7 drones go down. That's a problem because obviously now you're not mining as much as DRG. Do you have a chance to rebuild drones? Not necessarily. And 7 workers is kind of a lot of kills to grab a hold of here. Okay, nicely handled. It's just going to be seeing the Marines still gathering up. And center of ByuN on the natural expansion here. Gain more Marines making their way up the left side of the map at the moment. As they all join together, we're also going to see there's racks making its way up the left-hand side. Overlord gets taken down. This is a little bit tough. I mean, ByuN has obviously kept on making Marines. He is expanding at home. He can just walk into the natural and sit behind the mineral line here, which is obviously a bit of a problem. The Marines going to make their way around, and as he just moves up this ramp, I mean, you just avoid the spine crawler completely. These Lings can't fight this amount of Marines, man. Yeah, he's just dead. He's going to lose the Queen, which has a lot of energy on it as well, which is a shame. And ByuN's going to win it just like that. 2-1. Proxy racks, 2 games in a row. Is going to bring ByuN the victory. I won't lie, guys. This was a little bit more of an underwhelming series than I thought it was going to be. This wasn't any kind of close epic games, was it? It was kind of one-sided one way than the other, in very different ways of playing. GG's. ByuN is going to be taking that victory over DRG from the ITAX Pro Circuit number 5. If you watched this on YouTube, again, don't forget to subscribe and like if you enjoyed the video. If you didn't enjoy it, leave a comment down below flaming me. I love to read those. And yeah, we'll see you guys next time for more Starcraft here on the YouTube. Now I'll go talk to Twitch now.